Welcome to Dog on the Plot. I'm Kerry, this is Dorie, and we are in the home garden because in last week's episode I failed to reveal to you what I've been up to in the back of the garden. So last week's episode I started with me painting the shed and said that by the end of the video I would show you why I started painting a shed that I had not painted in 10 years. The 10 years that I've lived in this house, I have not done anything with that shed. In fact, I hadn't even taken out the stuff that was left in that shed by the previous owners. I just kind of shoved my stuff on top of everything that they had also left behind. So I emptied the shed, I painted the shed, and the reason that I did it is this. Very confused, Mark. Oh no, plums everywhere. Now, I can't remember whether I mentioned this idea to you when we did the secret garden transformation, but it's always been sort of an idea of mine that I would have a lean-to greenhouse against the shed in the secret garden and really make more use of this space down here. Now, the problem was whenever I saw them come up on Facebook Marketplace, they were always too tall for the shed. They were about a foot higher than this one. And then this one came up, and not only was it the right height for the shed, it was also already dismantled, and you rarely get that on Facebook Marketplace. It always says seller to dismantle. So it was already dismantled, it was all cleaned up. There was almost all the glass there. There's a little bit of the glass missing, and it was 50 quid. So my first thank you is to my cousin Becky, because there is no way this would have fit in the up. And indeed, it was a struggle in her car, but the guy who sold it was brilliant. He helped us out. It was a kind of Krypton factor, trying to puzzle everything into her car, but we managed it. We got it here, driving very slowly, and unloaded without breaking any glass. So really good. And then of course to Mark. Thank you to Mark, but he was looking at these pieces and he's like, that's for the roof, that's for the side. And to be honest, they all look the same to me. I would not have even known where to start. So massive thank you to Mark for erecting the frame and then putting the glass in the top. So the glass is, the roof is fully glazed. I have been left to glaze the rest, which is fine. I can do that. I say I can do that. I now have 3 greenhouses that are only partially glazed or all need some glazing still to do. And well, I wanted to talk about this because if I turn the camera around, you can begin to see what a mess the back of this garden is. And I've already shown you on the plot tour a couple of weeks ago what a mess the back of the plot is in also. And I mean, these messy areas they're kind of necessary, aren't they? You do need to have a space where you can dump things. And it is my intention, of course, to tidy it all up. But this time of year, you have to prioritize. And my priority has to be getting the crops out into the ground. I'm already behind on doing that. There's so much that I still want to get in the ground. And though it pains me because I'm like, yes, I want to glaze this greenhouse and I want to get things tidied. I want them to look nice and I want to be able to come to the back of the garden and sit at this table and have my breakfast. But needs must. And the need right now is to get out the rest of my tomatoes, the pumpkins, the courgettes, the cucumbers. I've still got things in the greenhouse that I have just almost completely ignored. So let's head back to the greenhouse. As we venture back to the greenhouse, we might as well stop and look at a couple of things that are going on in the home garden. And I guess the first one is this jasmine. I love this jasmine. It's so fragrant as well. It's really beautiful. But the bed in front of it is one that, well, it needs some attention, much like all the beds in the home garden. So it has elephant garlic. I think elephant garlic and regular garlic, if I remember correctly. It also has phacelia, which the bees are loving. This is self-seeded, I assume has come from the homemade compost because I don't think I sprinkled any seed here. We've then got field beans in the middle there, tons and tons of feverfew, which shouldn't be in this bed really. And then the shrouded thing over here is my kale cum purple sprouting broccoli, which has flowered, which I shouldn't really have let it do, I don't think. So yeah, that's going to need some attention, but still lovely leaves on it. And it did sprout. I did have some harvests from it a month or so ago. And then behind that are some of my currant bushes, which are not ready yet. This is the white currant, but look at all of those. That's amazing. This is like a tree one, so you can see there, but it's very much come away from its support. And yeah, it's kind of just coming all the way over here, which means it's kind of drowning the red currant, which should be under here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's not getting any light, and this is snapping the branches. So that needs a sort out at some point. The black currant, however, that's a little bit more out of the way and is okay. This has never been a particularly prolific currant bush, but there's a few on there. Now, what is prolific on the other side of the veg patch are the tayberries, loganberries, and boysenberries. And I mean, 2 days ago, I would not have said there was a single berry on here that was ripening. And now look at it. So many. And I've been picking them and they are huge. Oh, look at that. And delicious. Really wonderful. Likewise, the blueberries have been doing really well. And I did think, oh yeah, just down here, I've spotted my first ripe blueberry. Shall we have it? There we go. So good, so good. Really looking forward to getting a good crop of blueberries this year. Now, the dahlia bed. The first thing to say is that they're all alive. I saw one slug trying to make his way across this bed, and he was soon ejected. But the other thing to say is we have our first flower, and what an absolute stunner. This is totally tangerine, although it looks very pinky for totally tangerine, but it is absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous. So I'm hoping for lots more in this bed as the season goes on. But until then, the thing that I have really been enjoying in the home garden are the roses. Now, red roses are always quite difficult to capture on film. The colour just saturates, but now that the sun has just slightly gone in, I mean, aren't they just, this is the crazy in love. This is a climate. It's just absolutely stunning. I could not be happier after cramming it into this obelisk. The rambler that is also crammed into an obelisk, it did flower. Its flowering is over now. So really this is the time where I've got to make some decision about the rambler. But we will save that for another day and move down here to my other roses. Oh, just had to lift you up over the foxgloves there, which are also looking stunning. But here That's what I want to show you. So this one is my David Austin, my first David Austin, the Silas Marner, and just another absolutely beautiful rose. Oh, the petals are so soft. Has a real subtle, sweet scent. There are loads of flowers. Actually, I need to start deadheading this one now. Now I have deadheaded the one below it down here, much smaller, because this is my second David Austin. And if you remember, that's the one called Summer Song, and it's this really unusual red colour. Now I have had a bloom, and it was huge. The plant itself, because it's so young, couldn't really hold up the head of this bloom, but I did get a picture of it. I'll pop it on the screen so that you can see the colour that it is. It's, yeah, very, very unusual kind of red, really orangey red, and I thought stunning. So I'm really pleased with the colour of that, because I was a little bit like, oh, will it come out just being like an insipid red? But yeah, no, I think it's going to be fabulous. So once that gets a bit more established and we get more flowers, I think that's going to be a real showstopper in the garden. Now I have two more roses to show you, bear with me. And these ones are in the pond bed. And this one is called Wellbeing. Look at that. It will go pinky as it ages, much like its companion. These are Harkness roses, which is Samaritan. Now that's a tricky one to capture on camera as well with the saturation. But can you see it started out really quite orange, and then it's got this real pinkiness to it as it's aged. But the blooms are huge and just, yeah, stunning. So beautiful. So there we go, a little rose update, a little garden update. But yeah, let's go look what's in this greenhouse. So the first thing I'm going to show you is a bit of a mad one. Not this one in particular. This is my Mashua. If you remember, this was a bonus seed on one of my what to sow videos. And I tried to chit it and nothing really happened. So this isn't, you know, I've never grown this before. Chitting didn't seem to do anything. I didn't know where I wanted to put it in the garden or on the plot yet, so I decided to put it into little pots, and one's come up. And look, it's such a pretty leaf. So this is a perennial nasturtium, but you can also eat the tubers. So one came up, and then one I had to dig around in, and I could see that it was rooted. I could feel that it was against the side of the pot. So if you look in there, I don't know if you can just see, there are some tiny, tiny roots. But then I looked under this one, and can you see that? I suspect I've planted this upside down. All right, here we go. So there's roots there. Okay, there's the Mashua. You see? There's the actual tuber. What is it doing? It seems, yeah, it's bizarre. I'm not sure what's going on with it, really. I guess the roots have decided to go down, but so has the shoot. Right, I'm going to repot this the right way up. Although I do really want to think about where I want to put these now, because, yeah, they should be going out into the ground. Now, speaking of unexpected things, this is a tomato seedling that I grew from seed from Ali, and clearly not a tomato, but I thought it was parsley, and I thought, oh, you know, my parsley hadn't germinated, I'll just grow it on. Obviously, it is a carrot, and I was watering this morning, and yeah, there is a little carrot. So I just mentioned things that need to get in the ground, and over here, well, last week this was full of dahlias, and they're now in the ground. There are still some dahlias that are here, that some small ones, and also the ones that I've propagated, which are doing really well. So happy with that. So we do have a few dahlias still hanging around, but what's replaced them in this spot is the pumpkins. This is all winter squash. There are 42, I think I counted, winter squash here. And yeah, again, talking about excessive numbers of plants. Some I only have one of, so definitely want to go. Some I have up to 3 of, so I could give some of those away. But yeah, I do want to grow the majority of these, so I need to find spaces for them, both here at the home garden, but predominantly at the plot. In addition to the pumpkins, we have beans. These are the dwarf beans. The climbers I have taken down to the plot now, along with the next batch of tomatoes that need to go out. I've still got tomatoes here though. I've still got tomatoes down there. I've still got chili peppers and chili peppers down there, all of which, yeah, need to find homes. Oh, and then I have all of the courgettes, cucumbers, patty pans, all the summer squash that will also need to find spaces. And then I have all these random pots of brassicas. This, I think, is the cottager's kale, which is looking all right, but they just, yeah, they tend to languish in these little cells. Now, last year, that turned out to be a bit of a happy accident, because it meant when I moved to the new plot, I had all these brassicas that I could plant out into the polytunnel, and that has been a revelation. Like, I did not expect to get the harvest that I've been getting from that polytunnel, from straggly brassicas that looked half dead in, when did I put them in? Like November? Speaking of which, I think it's probably time to head down to the allotment plot and have a look at what's happening in the polytunnel. Well, it's too sunny to be sitting in the greenhouse today, so we're in the shade. Dorie's in the shade and I got a drink. She needs to calm down a little bit because she found a ball in the park, went a little bit crazy. So she is relaxing a little bit now. It is really breezy as well. That's actually quite good for testing something that's new on the plot. So this new addition to the plot is the fault of Maxine, who has a plot around the corner from me. She's Vintage Plot on Instagram. And she purchased this the other day, and I went and had a look at it yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna do it. So, in addition to Claire's brassica cage, which as you can see is withstanding this really strong wind, has now been joined by mini brassica cage. Well, it's actually sold as a fruit cage. That's not standing up to the wind so well. My little sugar snap pea structure. Yeah, I might need something extra on there. I may end up needing something extra on here as well. Becky also purchased one of these and she's just putting hers up now, and she's putting some extra supports in the corners. I've just pinned it down because I'm not sure if it's going to stay in this bed, but it was so easy to put up. It's just poles and connectors, so you just put everything together, no need for a drill or even a screwdriver. And then probably the trickiest part of it was just putting the cover over the top, but that was only because I was trying to do it on my own, and then I needed to get it into my plot because I was doing it over on Mark's plot, and I had to kind of go around the edges because there's bamboo canes everywhere. But got it into position, pinned it all the way around the bottom. It's over the pixie cabbages, the 9-star broccoli, a Brussels sprout, and one of the calabash. Another calabash, unfortunately, is on the outside of the cage. The netting is fine-ish, but it's for butterflies and birds. It's not insect mesh, so it would be no good against the allium leaf miner for the onions and garlic. But yeah, I mean, for 20 quid, that's all it is. In Argos on sale at the moment. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's got a little door on this side so you can roll that open, get in and out. It's not that different, to be honest, to the cage that I made last year on the old plot using bamboo canes. Instead of connectors, I had the coloured balls with holes in, and then I put netting over the top. But as Mark said, this looks a lot nicer. So I came down and did that last night. It didn't take very long at all. But a couple of nights before that, I came down to the polytunnel, and it looks quite different to last week. Okay, so maybe it's not that much of a transformation. I haven't got all my tomatoes out yet, but you did know that because I showed you them in the home greenhouse. But I have taken out almost all of the brassicas. And yeah, I came down and I thought, well, I'll just pull out the ones that are done. Then I thought, well, I'll just harvest the ones that are ready to harvest. And by the time I'd done that and then pulled out the plants, all that was left were a few Cavolo Nero kales. I've got one, what looks like a broccoli there, one broccoli there. And then at the end here, I've got what look like cabbages. So cabbages got put in here as well. And this is one of the Tortondine kale cuttings that I put in. And what a magnificent beast that is. But lots of space has been freed up in here, ready to plant out more tomatoes. I mean, I also need to tackle this, which is a bathtub full of brassica stems and leaves. But yeah, as I was saying earlier in the video, I do need to prioritise, and chopping this up for the compost heap is a good job to do, but it's not a priority at the moment. Getting the tomatoes out into this space is the priority. I mean, what was also a priority, having harvested all of that, was obviously processing it, because there's no way I could eat that many broccoli and cauliflowers before they would turn. So Friday morning, just before work, I had a little session processing all of that food, and I steamed everything. So I steamed we did harvest of the Broadbeans as well. Mum helped me do that. So steamed the Broadbeans just until the skin split. We steamed the broccoli for 2 minutes and the cauliflower for 3 minutes. I did them in small batches, popped them straight into cold water after the steaming, and then packaged them up for the freezer. And actually found enough room in the freezer to get it all in as well. And did a little stock rotation because I found Broadbeans in there from last year. Same with the berries, really. Now the berries have started cropping, and I looked in the freezer and I still have berries from last year that now need eating before the next lot go into the freezer. I think I was rationing them, thinking that I wanted them to last the whole year, and then went too far and just stopped eating them altogether. Anyway, I think what I will do now is probably take the kales out as well and harvest the kale leaves so that I can really clear this space in readiness for the tomatoes. Now I'm going to spare you another time lapse of me putting in tomatoes. I'm just going to crack on and do it, and I'll meet you back here a little bit later and we'll see what I've achieved. Welcome back. It's about 8 p.m. Sun's getting low. I'm tired. This is the mountain of broad beans that Mark and I have been harvesting today. So he harvested his whole patch that was here, and I've just done my little bits as well. So there's my bounty. We shelled all of Mark's. And it was a big box full. And when I get home, I'm going to have to shell these and give them a quick steam and get them into the freezer. But that's not all that I've been up to while I've been down here all day. If you were slightly underwhelmed by the polytunnel reveal this morning, then I hope you're going to be a little bit more impressed by the reveal now. Da-da! Tomatoes almost filling the polytunnel. So we have 28 tomatoes on this side with room for 4 more at the end once the cabbages come out. We've got a 4 row of 16 at the back there and 5 in the ground here. I've got these 2, which I just thought I'd double check on my sowing calendar, and these are bush tomatoes, so won't need pruning. So I thought I'll put those in a different place so they are separate to the ones all in here, which will all need severe pruning because they are packed in so tightly. I did this side exactly as I'd done that side. So I broad forked it, dug my holes, watered the holes, put fresh compost in. I didn't seaweed feed because I ran out. It's on order. I did do the mycorrhizal fungi. Everything's been watered in. This side, I gave a good water and then mulched with grass clippings. I'll do the same on this side the next time I water. And I've also put a strip of basil all the way down the edges. Very teeny tiny basils that are courtesy of Mark. I've got my strings up ready for the ones to go in here, which will be cherries, because I think all I've got left now is cherries to put in. I mean, yeah, it feels like a lot of progress today, but all my progress has been in here, other than doing the Broadbeans just now. Yeah, a big job, but really pleased to have got that done. There's one thing I did want to mention, because this is my top tip. I did this last year and game changer. So normally we label things at the bottom, and I have put the little lolly sticks in where the plants are, but I have then put a piece of tape at the top of each piece of string with the name of the variety on there. So much easier, because when you're picking your tomatoes, it's so much easier to see that than it is anything down there. And in fact, when I've been watering these, the lollipop sticks have kind of been going everywhere anyway. And if you're watering, your pen fades and all sorts. So this, a little bit of tape with the name of the variety, that's my top tip. Now, the last thing I'm going to do before I head home is just try my first almond pea. They're not ready to harvest yet, but I did notice, I think it was this one, a pod that just seems like it might, oh no, it's a little bit early. They're tiny, but oh well, they'll still taste good. In fact, they'll taste super, super sweet, but it won't be long before we're picking the almond peas. I have already been picking the sweet peas. I took a little bunch home a couple of days ago, making the living room smell absolutely delicious. I shan't take any more right now because I'm not going to be at home tomorrow. I need to tie these in. It is Gardener's World Live. So tomorrow we have an outing. I shall see you then. Well, we're a couple of days post Gardener's World Live now. We are very much in the midst of this week's heat wave now. If I'm a little bit breathless, it's because that cold that I keep saying I think I'm getting has finally caught up with me. I think I've just been holding it off, pushing through while there was so much to do at work and in the garden and the plot. But yeah, it's got a hold now. But anyway, I was fine for Gardener's World Live, and that's what's important. And we had a fantastic time. Can't wait to go again next year. Love the show gardens, love the floral marquee. I really like the beautiful borders. That's one of my favourite bits there. And of course, I did not come back empty-handed. I've got my little haul here. And I did want to show you something before that though, and that is this, my Mashua. I did indeed plant them upside down. So both of them that hadn't showed were in fact upside down. And now that they've been righted, they are romping away, and they'll probably catch up with this one quite quickly. And then I'll get them out in the ground, I think, at the plot. Now, what I went for at Gardener's World Live was herbs, and one herb in particular. And if you've been with me for a while, you know I have tried to grow this herb from seed and repeatedly failed, and it's sweet cicely. And the reason I want it so much is apparently it's a really good companion with rhubarb, and I've got plenty of rhubarb. And if you cook sweet cicely with rhubarb, it means you don't have to use so much sugar. So I had looked for it at Malvern, and they didn't have any. And I was looking for it at Gardener's World Live, and there were 3 herb stalls at Gardener's World Live, I think. Only one had it, and it was the last one. And I got it. And in fact, they'd just gone into the sell-off, so it was a bargain as well. So £2 for my first sweet cicely plant, and I'm going to get this into the ground sooner rather than later. It likes to be in shade. So I think I'm going to put it in the bed over there where I've put one of my rhubarbs that I'd grown from seed. So that should be a nice little combination in that bed, which is a shady bed. In the bed next to it, I think I might put my other herb, which was alongside this one on the stall, and it is an angelica. And angelica is something that I have also tried to grow from seed without success. So sometimes you just kind of have to admit defeat, buy the plant, and hopefully they will do well. Oh no, I had one more herb. This one was from Urban Herbs. They were there, and this is called olive herb. There we go. It looks a bit like a rickety, I think. But yeah, it really smells like olives. So if you like olives in your pasta or on your pizza and you've run out, you just put a bit of this herb on top. And yeah, I think this is quite a special one. So this might get a spot in the allotment greenhouse, because I did have one spot left in my new herb beds there. So those were my herbs. Then the other thing that I got, I instantly got this. This was the first stall that I passed at the show, and I bought this. It is another sundew plant. Now, you might think, pretty sure you have some of those, Kerry. And yes, almost every time I go to a show, I end up buying one of these. But I think they're just fantastic. I noticed a fungus gnat just before I started filming, and I'm like, well, sorry, fungus gnat, this guy is going to get you. I think if you have houseplants, you need a sundew plant. So yes, I already have 2 of these in different colours, and this one is actually going to Liam's house because I keep bringing him house plants. And yeah, you need that to go alongside them. So that was my sundew. And then the other thing that I'm a bit mad about is scented pelargoniums. And I'm building up a little collection, but this one is not the one that I went for. Now on Gardener's World on Friday night, they featured a scented pelargonium, which had beautiful big flowers, which you don't tend to get on the scented ones because it's more about the leaf. And I found it, and I had a sniff. I didn't think it was that nice. Didn't have much of a smell beyond the normal kind of geranium smell. So I went to a different stall and I found this one, which is apple. And it's like apple sweets, actually. It's called Odoratissimum pelargonium. Scented leaf, apple scented, smooth light green leaves, trailing habit with clusters of star-shaped white flowers. So these have got teeny tiny flowers, but they've got the scent, and that's what I was going for. One more thing for my haul, and that is this. Look how beautiful that is. Now, I have a bit of a rule going at the moment that I'm not to buy more houseplants because I have too many. I can't keep on top of them. But this is a turmeric. So it can be outside, well, in the greenhouse during the summer, and then I'll bring it indoors over winter, which I've got a few things that need that kind of care. It's also quite a big plant. So what I'm going to do is repot it and split it, and Mum and I are going to have half each because she loves turmeric too, and it was actually her who spied this plant and was like, that looks pretty special, and it really does. It had a longer name than just turmeric, but they took the sign down by the time I bought it because this was in the sell-off, and so I don't know what the full name of it was. So if anybody knows, let me know. But what a stunner, hey? Now there are a couple of more things I bought. They're over here. They're in the pond bed. And this one, it had a fat ball in at the show, but I was thinking I might put material in it that birds can use to make their nests. And then I've wanted one of these, a little bee drinking station thing, for absolutely ages. And I finally found one, you know, with a little bit of ornament on, and I think that's really beautiful. I may be tempted to get more of these. And just lastly, I did meet up with Claire at Gardeners World Live. She gave me another tomato. So I've got another tomato to find a space for, and a birdhouse gourd, which I do have a seedling of myself, but inevitably Claire's is much more impressive. Thank you for joining me this week. I hope you enjoyed the episode and hope to see you next week.